Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, and welcome to another promising session focused on my price action based technical analysis of all of the financial instruments on our watch list for this week. Since the beginning of the week, we have been monitoring and managing positions on the USOilSPOT, XAUUSD, GBPUSD, and of course the USDJPY. It has been quite an interesting week so far as we had some interesting situations go on in the market where we had some profits. We had some couple of stop losses too as well. It was a roller coaster of buys and sell across all the instruments on our watch list. However, in the last 24 hours, we begin to see some traction in favor of the US dollar, and this is as a result of the ADP employment data that came in yesterday, which came in beyond expectation actually, and this had led into a huge traction across all boards on our instrument for the week. So we are going to be looking at how we are going to be managing our existing positions on this trade and how we are going to be looking out for opportunities to trade. In fact, I have conducted a comprehensive analysis of the current market structures to uncover potential trading opportunities that we can take advantage of. In this session, I will be sharing my findings, utilizing simple setups that will eventually give us a guide into how to navigate through the current market structure. And as you know by now, our analysis rely on the power of trend lines, key levels, and of course chart patterns, enabling us to gain valuable insight into the historical price movement. So with that being said here, we will be diving into the business. Oh, for those who are joining us for the first time, I didn't forget you. You are highly welcome on board. I'm always glad to have newcomers around. What we do here, we form a close-knit community gathering each day in anticipation of the New York and London's trading session. Our time here together is focused on reviewing and managing our existing positions while strategically positioning ourselves ahead of today's trading opportunities. As newcomers, you might initially find this trading approach a bit overwhelming, especially considering the background of ideas you've accumulated throughout your personal trading journey. However, I assure you that with time, you will begin to see how straightforward and simple it can be, and gradually you will be able to harness the information gathered here as a valuable tool to complement your own ideas, enabling you to make a well-informed trading decision. And what we normally do here is basically on the 1 hour time frame, as our analysis on the Forex morning mastery is more of the 1 hour time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to the structures you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame, then I advise you to watch my videos, which I already included in the description box in the below this current video you are watching, so that you can go through it and see how we got to this point and how we were able to identify the key levels that we marked out on the charts to guide our trading activity for this week. So you can check them out. They are duly timestamped, so you can easily navigate to whichever aspect of the video you want to watch. So once again, you are very much welcome. Try to subscribe, and of course, when you subscribe, you simply get notifications whenever I do any live stream or share any updates as regards to our setups on the financial market. So once again, you are all welcome on board. So before we proceed, I will really appreciate that I get some feedbacks as regards to the sound and video quality of this stream. So let me know in the comment section if the sound quality is good and the video visuals are very, very fine, as this will help me to confirm that we are both on the same page, and at the same time be able to make the appropriate correction if there is a need for it as the session goes by. So I really appreciate your feedbacks. Let me know in the comment section if everything is working out fine. So as we dive right into the business for today, I also want to state here, which is something I normally do whenever we start the last trading day of month or a week. There is always this psychological peculiarity about what to expect on this kind of day. And one important consistent factor is the fact that majority in the market will want to be doing some profit-taking activity. It's a natural thing that whenever you've been enjoying a very strong momentum throughout the course of the week, on the last trading day of the week or month, you want to be taking your profits. And as you do that, as these major key players do that in the market, we normally see a huge traction in the opposite direction of the prior leading price action. So we are going to be taking this into consideration too while we monitor what is going on in the current market structure. And also today is a very major a day that is laced with a major event, and that is the non-farm payroll data, which is what everyone is looking forward to in the market. And in fact, the anticipation of this event has recalibrated the bet ahead of the Fed's interest rate decision, as because of what happened yesterday, the ADP data that came in beyond expectation is a sign that we might likely be seeing a huge number of figure for the NFP data. So as a result of this, a lot of participants in the market bought the dollar in anticipation of that one, and we are going to be seeing if the dollar will be too cheap to start selling. Will be too high for majority in the market to start selling to make some profit today. So we are going to be looking if the dollar is going to reverse today, in the sense that it could be too high and majority will just consider selling it to gain some yield on it ahead of the new week. So we are going to be looking at all this while we review the current market structure. So with that being said here, you know how we do it. The first thing we want to be doing is to dive into the economic calendar to get ourselves familiar with all the high impact macroeconomic event that majority in the market will be looking forward to. And you all know these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and, of course, specific technical patterns. And the backdrop of this information will enable us to be able to position ourselves in such a way that we can catch that potential move when it finally happens. It could be prior to the event, during the event, or even after the event. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And as usual, we check the economic calendar. So for today, Friday, July 7th, we want to be focusing on high impact event from economies that will be affecting the currencies on our watch list. And these are the US economy, the UK economy, and of course the Japanese economy. And from what we have here, the first high impact event will be coming in about 3 to 4 hours from now. In fact, they are going to be coming in simultaneously, which might likely lead to some volatility in the market. And what we want to be doing here is to position ourselves in such a way that we can catch that move when it happens. So the first event is coming in. We have the average hourly earnings for the month on month and for the year on year. And the average hourly earning is released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So it's more of the labor market here, which we have been witnessing since yesterday, and is a significant indicator of labor cost inflation and of tightness of the labor market. So a higher reading is also positive, is a positive information for the US dollar, while a low reading is seen as negative for the US dollar. And one thing about this index is that it's something that it's a data that the Fed will always want to look at, as it will decide if there's going to be an interest rate hike or probably maintain the previous rate. Now, from the previous data we have here, it's 0.3%, and economists are projecting that it could still come in at 0.3%. And for the year on year, we have 4.3% as the previous data, and we have 4.2% as the economic projection for today, which is a little bit on the downside. So we are going to be looking forward to see what the actual data is going to be like. Will it be just as expected, below expectation, or even beyond expectations? Then we also have the non-farm payrolls, which is the major one for today, and that is released by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it of course presents the number of new jobs created during the previous month in all non-agricultural businesses. And so a high reading is seen as positive for the dollar, of course, while a low reading is seen as negative for the US dollar. And if we look at the previous data here, it's around 339,000, and we have a general consensus of 225,000. So there is this belief that there's going to be some contraction in the actual data, though there's a growth in the number of employed non-agricultural businesses, but there's still a tendency that we could have what we had yesterday as regards to the ADP employment change, where data came in beyond expectation, which is what majority in the market are looking forward to. So we are going to see how the market is gradually anticipating this event, and of course we shall see the reflection of this anticipation unfold on the charts as price action. And as a result of this, we are going to be sniffing out, trying to decipher what the next line of action would do just by simply reading the price action, using simple setups like your trend lines, key levels, and support and resistance lines, and of course chart patterns to decide what our next line of action will be. So let's dive right into the business for today. So as usual, the first instrument on our watch list is the USOilSPOT. Now, so far so good this week. Though we have been profitable on this commodity, and if we look at what happened on this instrument since the beginning of the week, we have been buying the USOilSPOT. And coupled with the fact that majority in the market were anticipating the data, the update or highlight from the OPEC Plus seminar, which happened on the 5th and 6th, that was on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. And I remember I mentioned how the OPEC Plus decided to cut out major financial press outfits like Bloomberg, Reuters. So we really were not able to get real-time updates on what was really going on in that seminar. But as at yesterday, we were able to get information that top oil exporters Saudi Arabia and Russia announced a fresh round of output cuts for August. So the total cost now stands at more than 5 million barrels per day, equating to 5% of global oil output. So at this situation right now, the oil prices gains were capped actually yesterday by strengthening expectation that the US Central Bank is likely to raise interest rates in the month of July. I think in about 2 or 3 weeks, we are going to be having the interest rate decision, which majority in the market right now are thinking that it's going to be hiked again one more time. So as a result of this, we saw how the market reacted to the current market structure yesterday. So let's quickly run through how the week started for us on the USOilSPOT and what led to the idea of buying the US oil at the beginning of the week before we sold during the New York session yesterday. So here we are on the 1 hour time frame, and the first thing, if you remember, we observed on the 1 hour time frame at the beginning of the week was this ascending trend line, which we spotted, and in fact it has been guiding trading activity since the last week of the month of June, and we had connected the series of higher highs and higher lows, giving us this beautiful and simple ascending channel to work with. And going into the new week, this was what we spotted at the beginning of the week. So we tried to decipher what participants in the market were looking forward to during the early hours of the week. And we saw here how price action was initially ranging between the $70.75 level and of course the $70.40 level to give us an idea into the level of indecision at that point in time. And you know how we do it in this community. When price action falls within this kind of flat range, we want to wait patiently for structures like a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And during our live session on Monday, I think we were around here during the live session on Monday, where I told us all that we are going to be placing a buy stop order above the $70.75 level to capture our first buy position for the week. And in fact, we were able to rather move all the way to the upside, even maximizing the potential of that move by adding more position at the breakout of the $71 level. So as at the first day of the week, we were already profitable on the US All Spot before price action dropped to the downside, bringing it back into the support line of that ascending channel we identified earlier. And for the fact that we begin to see buy pressure around that, above that key level for the week at the $70 area, we anticipated more buying opportunities in this market. And if you remember vividly, we had a buy stop order above the $70.40 level, which we enjoyed that move to the upside. We also added more positions, had a breakout retest of the $70.75. We also added more position here at the breakout of the $71 level. That was on Wednesday, and that was how we rode this move all the way to the upside. And one thing we observed during our live session yesterday was the fact that as soon as price action tested this peak here at the $72.20 level, this is the highest point price action has been for this week. And one thing we noticed is that as soon as price action got into the structure, we begin to see selling pressure resume around that area. So it shows that buyers were struggling to even break through that level. And what we said here yesterday is that we are going to be taking into consideration the potentials of sellers as well, as we of course we are looking out for buying opportunities. And during the live session, we observed the buy pressure here at the $71.65 level. I hope you recall this. And then we observed the breakout of this trend line yesterday. And one of the things I said here yesterday is that if you are already profitable on this trade, you want to have a buy stop order above the $72.20 level, which of course went into a loss at the end of the day. Of course, we're still on the positive side of our portfolio on the US All Spot. And one of the things I mentioned here yesterday for us to confirm that buyers are likely going to be pushing price to the upside is to see a retest of structure coupled with buy pressure before we join the bullish move to the upside, and which never happened, of course. And I said here that the only thing that will make us sell the US All Spot is to see price action break through that demand zone around the $71.65 level, which actually happened. And in fact, if you didn't have a sell stop order below that structure, we saw how price action came back to retest that structure to incite that bearish move to the downside. And remember, we had key levels like the $71.40 area, as you can see here. We also had the $71 level, and of course the $70.75 area, where we said we are going to be adding more position if price action continues to drop to the downside. So, and I hope you are able to maximize the potential of that move. And if you had done that and moved your stop losses accordingly, as soon as price action moves significantly well in our favor, you would have closed with a modest size of profit on the US All Spot, or at a worst case scenario, break even. And since the bearish impulsive move we witnessed here, we saw how price action has gradually gained bullish momentum back again. Though I was out of this trade, I missed out on this opportunity. And the reason why we missed out on this opportunity is simply because of this strong bearish momentum we saw, which sliced through the support line of that ascending trend line we identified. Ascending channel, we identified at the beginning of the week. And what I was thinking is that because of the strong impulsive move to the downside, we might likely see a situation where price would retest structure to incite another wave of bearish momentum. So because of this expectation, we missed out on this buy position. But for those who took advantage of it, well done to you for being on standby to catch that move. Now that we are heading into the New York and London session today, what is going to be our plans and what do we expect is going to be happening for today? Now, if we zoom right into the current structure right now, that is that area between the $72.20 level and of course the $71.65 area, you will notice that since the beginning of this week, this zone here has been a very strong selling niche in this particular market. And for the fact that price remains around this area, it's going to be very, very risky taking a buy position at this point unless something significant happens that will make us feel comfortable taking advantage of a bullish move. Now, before I explain the details of what our expectations will look like, let's run through my commentary on the USOilSPOT this morning, which I of course shared on all my public platform, the TradingView and Telegram platform. So here on the TradingView platform, of course, if you are with me on my Telegram platform, you would have gotten this update too. So right here on the USOilSPOT updates for this morning, so this is how we have been managing the USOilSPOT so far this week, and this was my commentary a couple of hours ago. I said here, after a notable bearish movement yesterday resulting in gains of over 150 pips from multiple entries, the price action has now reached the week's peak at the $71.20 level. Sorry, that's $72.20 level. That was a typographical error. This confirms the presence of buyers in the market as we approach the NFP release. A potential breakout and retest of the resistance line at the $72.20 level could create favorable buy opportunities, while we also consider the possibilities of selling if the price falls below the $71.65 level. We will delve into the specific of this analysis during our upcoming live session. So now let's go back into the live chat and see what I was talking about there. So what I was saying around this area is that we have noticed how sellers have continued to negate the bullish attempt around the $72.20 level, which makes that area an hot zone for sellers at this point in time. And I said in the commentary that the only thing that will make us buy at this point is to see a breakout of structure, then scale down into our lower time frame to look out for multiple retests of structure, signs that buyers are gradually gaining momentum and that sellers could not find their way through to the downside of the $72.20 level. Then we could start considering buying the USOilSPOT. So we are not going to be buying the USOilSPOT today unless this happens. Now, I said there that to sell the USOilSPOT, I want to see price action drop below the $71.65 level, just like it did yesterday, where we saw selling pressure taking out all the buy positions along that zone to give us an opportunity to sell yesterday. So if price action comes back below the $71.65 level, I want to consider this as price action coming back into the seller's territory, after which I want to be looking out for opportunities to join a bearish move to the downside. So that is how we are going to be managing our trade on the USOilSPOT for today. And in fact, I want us to extend this the support line of the ascending channel. Let me scale out so that you can see what I'm talking about here. So let me highlight this for the sake of clarity. So we have the support line of the ascending channel right here. So a breach of this channel is going to be a sign that sellers will come in at any point in time. So for us to sell here, I want to see price action slice through that trend line, giving me something like this. Confirmations needed on our lower time frame, so we scale down into the lower time frame to look out for retest of structured coupled by selling pressure, after which we want to be part of a bearish move to the downside. And in fact, this current structure has a tendency of giving us multiple entries, as we have levels such as the $71.65 level. If broken to the downside, retest of structure should confirm more opportunities. We also have the $71.40 level and of course the $71 area. And if price action goes on to drop below the $70.75 level, we will be looking out for more opportunities on this one. But things are looking very bullish for me personally, and a breakout retest of that resistance line could send price skyrocketing to the upside. So let's be on standby to catch that move. But if the market says that we are going to be selling, then a breakdown retest of the support line of that ascending channel will be great for us to look out for selling opportunities in this market. So that is my view here on the USOilSPOT for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, or you need me to do some clarifications as regards to an aspect you really do not understand, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I am here and willing to be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions, and then you can also use that time to screenshot my screen or mark these levels out on your chart, as we are going to be using this as a guide for our trading activity today. So let's see how things plays out in the next couple of seconds, and let's move on to the next instrument. Hello, good morning, Jonah Aruna. Good morning. I saw your comment. Thank you very much for checking in on me. Trust you are doing very well and getting ready for the London and New York session today. Well done, Jonah. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are on the same page here. So I will be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. So the next instrument on our watch list is the GBPUSD, and in fact on the GBPUSD it has been very choppy in the last 24 to 48 hours now, though we have been buying this instrument since the beginning of the week. Most of the part of this week we have been doing more of buying, and one interesting thing about the current structure on the 1 hour time frame and on our positions so far this week, that is our buy positions, is that we saw how price action didn't really gain traction during the first couple of days of the week. I think on Tuesdays and Wednesday, even on Monday too as well, we saw price move maximum about 25-30 pips before it comes back to our entry point. So most of the buy positions we took at the beginning of the week were just break even, though I think we had a stop loss at one point on Wednesday's trading session on this one. So let's quickly run through how the week started for us here and what led to the idea of looking out for buying opportunities in this particular market. So at the beginning of the week, this was the first thing we observed here. Remember, we had our key level at the 1.2700 level, and you know how we use our key level in this community. If price remains below the key level, of course, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of selling. And if price action breaks out of our key level to the upside, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will be supporting the idea of buying the asset at that point. But with the situation we saw here at the beginning of the week, just right around our key level, we saw a flat channel evolve at the beginning of the week, giving us a simple structure to work with. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of flat channel. We want to wait patiently for structures like either a breakout of the resistance line for an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line for an opportunity to sell. And in fact, our first position for the week was bearish as we sold the breakdown of the structure here. And you can see price action moved about 26-30 pips thereabouts before it snapped back into our entry zone. So for the first part of the week, it was more of this kind of situation we saw here. And remember, we identified a trend line, which has of course been our yardstick since the beginning of the week to guide trading activities, where we agreed that as long as price remains above the trend line, we feel comfortable in our buy positions, while we also look out for buying opportunity. So we had another opportunity to buy here on Tuesday as we saw the breakout of the 1.27070, which happens to be the resistance line for the week. At that point in time, we rode the move all the way to the upside before another wave of bearish momentum began. And on Wednesdays and Thursday, we saw price drop back into that zone again at our key level, and we saw how buyers were in fact negating all attempt by the sellers to break through that level, giving us a very good idea that the bullish momentum in this market is still very strong. And as a result of this situation here, we anticipated buying opportunity above the 1.27070 level, as you can see here. And in fact, we had breakout retest. If you had missed out on the buy stop order, price action came back to retest the structure a couple of times to push price to the upside yesterday. And in fact, we had about how many pips move from here? We had about 75 pips move before the bearish momentum began. I told us all to secure position, move our stop losses, and we locked in some profit. We were taken out of that position anyways with a modest size of profit on that one. So as at this morning, I saw what happened here. I saw the situation go on during the early hours of today, as price action appears to be caught within a range right now at that level at the 1.27400 area, giving us an insight into the level of indecision at this point in time. And for me, you know how we do it in this community. When we have indecision phases like this, we just want to remain calm and wait patiently for structures to mature before giving us an opportunity to either buy or sell. So this morning, I shared a commentary on the GBPUSD. Let's run through the commentary on the GBPUSD, and let's see what we said we are going to be doing for today. So on the GBPUSD commentary for today, I said something here that, considering the current circumstances, if you currently hold a buy position, it will be prudent to secure all positions at this point. And uncertainty has resumed. Of course, we saw that a moment ago, and thus far, I have yet to identify a promising breakthrough. Therefore, it is advisable to exercise patience and wait for a substantial setup to develop before taking further actions in this particular market. So now let's go back into the live chart here. And like I said in my commentary there is an uncertainty in the market, though price action still remains above our ascending trend line, which of course has been serving as the yardstick guiding our bullish opportunities so far this week. But one thing here is that as soon as price got into the zone around the 1.27400 area, we begin to see attempt by the sellers to push price to the downside. So buyers have been struggling, and here we are yet, though we've been seeing higher lows in this market, but we are yet to see a higher high that will slice through that 1.278. And from the look of things here, the momentum is not looking promising to support the idea of buying and climbing to the 1.27800 area. So what I will be doing right now is to try to identify a structure around this area, and let's see what is going on there, then use the pattern we can come up with to guide our trading activity for today. Now, if we bring out our line chart at this juncture, we want to be identifying the highest point of this channel, which is just right around here. And I think we will have to extend it a little bit to find a psychological level, which falls at around the 1.27450 level. I think somewhere around here. Beautiful. So we want to be marking these levels out on our chart. So we have the 1.27450 level marked out on our chart right now. And then we place it at the top right hand side. So I only want this to show on my 1 hour time frame only. So then we have the support line here, situated somewhere around the 1.272885, I think. 1.272 285 level. So place at the bottom right hand side of the screen. So here we go. Now we have a range forming at this point in time. So let me extend this out a little bit. So we have a new range going on here. Now the question at this point in time is, how will price action react to this range? And you know how we do it in this community. When price action falls into this kind of simple range like this, we want to wait patiently for either a breakout of the resistance line or the breakdown of the support line for an opportunity to trade. Now, with the situation we have here, we shall wait for either price to break out of the resistance line, retest of structure to incite a bullish move to the upside. That is one way we are going to be looking at the market today. Or if price will drop down of the 1.27285, retest of structure to incite a sell move. Now, one thing about this selling opportunity here is that we need to be very careful. One thing is, price remains above our key level at the 1.27, and you know how we use key levels in this community. When price remains above the key level, we want to be looking out for only structures and patterns that will support buying opportunity. And in this case scenario, price is above that level. So if we are going to be selling, we need to be very careful and see something very significant that will support and make us feel comfortable selling at that point. Then secondly, we have an ascending trend line which has been guiding our trading activity since the beginning of the week, and price action has remained above this ascending trend line since the beginning of the week. And because of this, it's not going to be reasonable, of course, to look out for selling opportunities as long as price action remains above the structure. In fact, what will welcome the idea of selling the GBPUSD today is in fact to see a significant breakthrough of this zone here, that is both the trend line and of course the key level at the 1.2700 area, to give us that confidence we are looking forward to start looking out for selling opportunities. And remember, we would need some confirmations to happen, like a retest of structure followed by selling pressure, before we want to be joining in the bearish move. And for those who are profitable on the GBPUSD so far this week, you can afford to have a sell stop order below the key level here to capitalize on that move to the downside. But if you're not profitable, or this is going to be your first trade on the GBPUSD, I advise you to wait for a retest of structure on our lower time frame. It could be the 5, 10 or 15 minutes time frame to look out for these opportunities to trade. But at this point in time, since price remains above the trend line, it's quite reasonable that we are likely going to see the breakout of that resistant line of that channel we just identified here to push price to the upside. But if it happens, we want a retest, of course, to give us a confirmation to go. Now, for the selling opportunities here, if price slices through the 1.27285, doesn't mean that we cannot look out for selling opportunities even before the breakdown of that key level happens. But what we are going to be looking out for are significant patterns that will support the idea of selling. So we want to see retest of structure, continued selling pressure. We want to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back into the channel to give us the idea of selling, after which we can join the bearish move, probably below the 1.272, and then have a sell stop order below the 1.27 area to maximize the potential of that move to the downside. So that is how we are going to be managing our trade on the GBPUSD today. And if price breaks out of the structure to the upside, a further breakout of the 1.278 will welcome more opportunities in this market. So this is how we are going to be managing our trades on the GBPUSD for today. I hope I made myself clear, and trust me, I will definitely be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due. So try to be part of that family on those platforms so that you can be privileged to have these updates as at in real time. So if you have any questions regarding what I just explained so far, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat and see if there are any comments or any inquiries, and you can as well use that time to mark these levels out on your chart or screenshot my screen so that you can use it as a reference point to guide your trading activity for today. Ronald Kalnane, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Ronald, good morning to you and glad to have you around. Thank you very much. From Latvia, yay! You're welcome on board, Ronald, and glad to really do have you around here. So let's see if we have any questions whatsoever. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page here. So we'll just move on to the next instrument on our watch list. So the next instrument on our watch list is the XAUUSD, the gold spot, one of my favorite commodity amongst all the instruments we have been monitoring so far this week. And on the XAUUSD, we have been profitable actually on this instrument, though we had some choppy situation happen yesterday, a volatility which was as a result of the unexpected data that came in from the ADP unemployment change. Now, let's quickly run through how the week started for us on the XAUUSD. So the first thing we saw at the beginning of the week was how price action was initially ranging between that level. Hold on a second. Let me mark that level out here. This thing is looking a little bit messy, right? Excuse me. So let me delete all this one so that we have something clean enough for the highs. All right. So since the beginning of the week, we had this range figured out where price action was initially caught within the the $1,920.50 level, and of course the $1,914.50 area. And you know how we do it whenever we have this kind of simple setup. We want to wait for price action to either break out of the resistance line for buying opportunities or breakdown of the support line for selling opportunities. And if you remember vividly, on Monday we had a sell stop triggered here which never lasted long. I think price action moved about how many pips was that? Moved about 47 pips before we begin to see this buy pressure resume. And one of the things we saw on Monday here was that considering the continued buy pressure are above our key level, remember we had a key level, had a 1,912, and for the fact that price action remains above our key level, of course we want to be looking out for opportunities and patterns to buy the XAUUSD. And with the situation we had there, we had consistent buy pressure where we saw signs that sellers were finding it difficult to break through that structure, and as a result of this we had a buy stop order above the $1,914.50 level to capture our first buy position for the week. And I remember that we rode this move all the way to the upside. We added more positions at the breakout retest of the 1,920. We also added more positions at the 1,925 after price action peaked at 1,930 to incite a bearish move. And remember, as usual, you know how we do it in this community. As soon as price moves significantly well in our favor, we of course move our stop losses to secure the current position. So we were taking out on that one. And I told us all at a moment before I went to bed on Monday that if continued buy pressure resumes around this area, we shall be taking advantage of a buy position, as this might likely be a retracement, culmination of the retracement of that impulsive move that we saw there. Though I missed out on this one as it was late in the night. As I missed out on this one, some of us took advantage of it and rode that move again to the upside, giving us about 80-90 pips thereabout. And then, hold on a second, please. Give me a moment, please. I need to sort out some things. I'll get back to you just in a moment. out. Excuse me. Sorry. All right. Sorry. Thank you very much, Deji, for letting me know that I've already missed out on my sound again. Thank you very much, Deji, for that quick reminder. Thank you very much. I hope the sound is back. Let me know in the comment section if they are back so that I can know that we're on the same page here. From my monitoring device here, it says that it is good and fine. So let's go back into what I was saying here. So I said here that I'm sorry for the break in transmission, first of all, and that's why you're able to answer the question on your screen. If you are able to do that, let me know in the comment section what your answers are. So let's go back into the business of what we are talking about here. So at this point in time, we saw the retest of structure, rejection, we saw rejections here. So on where's this trading session, live session, we acknowledge this trend line, and we were looking forward to, if price action continue to trade below the trend line, we shall look out for selling opportunities. But a breakout, of course, gave us the privilege of buying. I think we were able to scoop about 120 pips on that one as we rode the move all the way up. As you saw here, adding more positions, and we moved our stop losses, of course, and we saw ourselves taking out of that positions. And during our XAUUSD live monitoring window on YouTube here, we begin to see some interesting bearish impulsive move to the downside here, where majority were thinking of selling at that point. And I told us all here to remain patient and see how price would react to that structure. So we had a zone identified here between the 1,925 and the 1,921.50, where we had a sell stop order below the 1,921.50 and a buy stop order above the 1,925, and we saw the breakdown of the structure here on Wednesday, capitalizing on this move as price moved about 70 pips thereabout before this bullish move began again. Then yesterday's trading session, we had a very interesting market structure. And remember, during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged this ascending trend line, which was supposed to be our guide for trading activity. I think some of us got pissed off during our live session yesterday. During the live monitoring yesterday, I got some chats and comments as regards to price moving in the dropping to the downside without us not taking advantage of it. Well, I mentioned here during our live session yesterday that that trend line will be our guide for trading activity, and as long as price action remains above that trend line, we have no other choice than to look out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying this commodity. And to buttress the potentials of buyers here, we also identified a potential reversal pattern which looks something like this. Price was unable to break the previous low, so we had our neckline around this area, and I told us all to have a buy stop order above the structure. And in fact, we saw price move significantly over 70 pips in our favor. We had the second position triggered, and on my live monitoring platform, I told us all to secure positions as we were taking out, and then we placed a sell stop order below the structure here to capitalize on this move, and price action dropped to the downside, giving us about over 100 pips move as we saw another breakdown of our key level. So one thing about the structure is that we don't want to get too excited when we start seeing volatile movements in the market. In fact, if we are not in that market before the volatile move, we don't have any business joining or placing any position at that point. We want to ensure that the market structure, price action respects our market structure we've projected even before the movement started. And with the situation, the majority were telling me that why didn't we sell above this area? Well, it's quite simple. Remember, we had a trend line, ascending trend line here, and we said if price still remains above that trend line, we have no other business selling that commodity. The only thing that will make us sell is to see the breakdown of the structure, which I immediately updated us before price action getting to that level to sell at that juncture, which we did, and which gave us over 100 pips on that one. So congratulations to some of us who took advantage of that move, and for those who didn't really understand the idea or the rationale behind the decision we were making, I hope you now get it now, and I hope you'll be able to use this in your future decisions. So now that we are going into the New York and London session today, what is going to be our plans? Well, I have a new chart to help us, which I shared on my public platform this morning. So let's run through what we said in the commentary on the XAUUSD this morning. So this morning I shared this update here, and of course on my Telegram platform too. So we said here that hold on a second, let's see what is going on here. So I said here that all sell position is now closed, hereby securing a modest profit as price rebounded. This has led to a scenario where the price action is once again climbing above the key level for the week. As we prepare for the release of the NFP data today, it's important to note the emergence of a newly identified ascending trend line on your chart. This trend line could serve as a crucial reference point to guide our trading activities throughout the day. Our focus will primarily be on seeking buying opportunities as long as the price remains above this trend line. However, we will consider selling only if a breakdown retest occurs. We will delve into the specific of the strategy during our upcoming live session. So this is where we are right here. So I said we are going to be looking out to buy the $1,914.50 level. Then I will be showing you in a moment how important that level is and how it has been a major determinant of buying power since the beginning of the week. So now let's go back into the live chat here. Now, if you look at what has been going on since the beginning of the week, remember our first buy position for the week was just right above the $1,914.50 level, which you can see here. And we saw attempt again where price came into that 1,914 to give us an opportunity to buy again. And from what we can see here, it is quite clear that that area has been a strong buying niche for participants in the market. Now, if we zoom into this current structure here, we notice that following that strong impulsive bearish leg we witnessed yesterday, we saw that as soon as price action tested the 1,903 level, we saw sharp rejections of the structure, leading into a situation where price continued to find higher lows in this market. And with this situation here, one of the things we will consider here is that this might likely be a retracement of that impulsive move that started yesterday, something like this. Probably price retraces back into trend line where continued selling pressure could incite a bearish move to the downside. So let's first of all talk about the potentials of sellers here after considering the impulsive move we saw here yesterday. So if we zoom out of the structure and taking into consideration what has been going on here in the last 3 days now, I think since Tuesday, you will see that we have a trend line to work with after connecting the series of lower highs here, and price action appears to be back along that trend line. So we had the breakdown of the trend line. We saw the breakdown of the 1,914 prices back into that structure right now. So you would agree with me that we are at a critical point in the market right now. So whatever happens here today in the next couple of hours around the zone will have an impact in where price action is likely going to be going for the remainder part of today's trading session. Now, with the fact that price is back in that confluence, so one of the things we are going to be looking at here is if we start seeing selling pressure come in around the $1,914.50 level, then at this point we will start considering selling. But we will need a confirmation, which will be the breakdown of that ascending trend line. So let me show you one more time here. So we can see the ascending trend line here, which has been supporting this bullish momentum, which at this point could be considered to be a retracement move. And if we see a breakdown of the structure, and one interesting thing about this level is that it shares a confluence with our key level for the week, which is situated at the 1,912 level. And you know how we use our key levels in this community. When price remains above the key level, we look out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying. But if price action drops below the key level, of course, we want to be looking out for patterns that will support selling. So if price drops below both the trend line, the ascending trend line, that is first of all a sign that the trend line can no longer hold on to the bearish pressure again. And if that is broken to the downside, it's a clear sign that we want to be getting ready to sell. And if price goes on to break down the key level at the 1,912, then definitely we want to be looking out for selling pressure below the structure on our lower time frame to join a bearish move. But if you're already profitable on the XAUUSD this week, that is, if you have been part of our journey so far this week, you can afford to have a sell stop order below the 1,912 to capitalize on that bearish move to the downside. And if price action continues to go down, breaking down the 1,910, we could be adding more position to our existing trade. So that is the rationale behind the idea of selling the XAUUSD for today. Now going into the other expectation, which is the bullish aspect of this market. Now, for the fact that price action has broken out and retested the key level at the 1,912, I'm of the opinion that buyers are likely going to be coming in for today. And in fact, I already had a buy position at the breakout retest of the 1,912 this morning, and currently price is running with about 35 pips in profit. Then we also had a buy stop order above the 1,914 level here, which has also been triggered at this point in time. So we are going to see if the price will remain above both the descending trend line and of course the $1,914.50 level. And please don't forget how the $1,914.50 level has been a major determinant of buying power since the beginning of the week. So look at what happened here since the beginning of the week. We saw a very strong impulsive engulfing bullish candle from that level. We saw the same thing happen here before this level was broken to the downside. So it's a very strong demand zone. So if price breaks out and remains above the $1,914.50 level, I want to feel comfortable in a buy position, and I will be definitely looking out for more opportunities to maximize this move to the upside, as we have structures like the $1,920.50 level. As you can see here, a breakout retest will welcome more opportunities to buy, and if price action continues to the upside, 1,925 is there also, and we also have the 1,930 and of course the 1,933 to maximize the potential of this bullish move. So let's see how price action will play out in the next couple of hours, and trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. So these are my views here. If you have questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section. And trust me, I am here and willing to be of help. So the next 10 to 15 seconds, let's see if there are any questions. And you can as well use that time to mark these levels out on your chart while we wait out and see how price action will react to this level. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page. So we shall be moving right into the last instrument on our watch list for the week, which is the USDJPY. And in fact, the last 24 hours in this market, the USDJPY is the most simple and most profitable trade for us in this community. So let's run through what has really been going on in this particular market and how we took advantage of this bearish move. Now, if you remember, since the beginning of the week, we acknowledged that price action was a little bit range, was more of range bound actually for about 3.5 days. We saw throughout that first half of the week, it was just range bound as participants still were testing waters to see where price action is likely going to go. So we had a range between the 144.690 and that key level at the 144.200. So we had that range go up and down within that area. And not until on Wednesday we begin to see signs that sellers are likely going to be coming in. So we wanted to capture a bearish move even before the breakdown of the support line happens. And what we did here on Wednesday was to acknowledge the higher lows here, giving us a trend line to work with. And what we saw during the New York session, during the early hours of Wednesday's trading session, we saw the breakdown of structure, giving us an opportunity to sell. Then we had our stop losses sitting right above the 144.690, above the previous high there. Price tested the trend line, tested it one more time, and then you can see how price since then has been dropping to the downside. In fact, we have how many entries here? We have one right here. We have the second one here, and of course we had the third one here. And this morning during my commentary, I also updated the structure with another new level at the 143.350, where I said we want to be adding the fourth position on the USDJPY. So it has been quite an interesting 48 hours on the USDJPY for us, and for those who have been part of this profitable journey, well done to you guys for being on standby and in fact being able to exercise a whole lot of patience for us to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. So well done to you guys for being on standby. Now, the next thing we want to be doing right here, you know how we do it in this community. As soon as price action moves significantly well in our favor, we definitely want to be moving our stop losses right now to secure this current sell position. And where do you think is the most appropriate area for us to secure this position at this point? Well, personally for me, I still see this fourth position. I don't see this as a profit at this point, though it's running with about, let's see how many pips now, about 37 pips. So I'm not seeing it as profit yet. So I will just move my stop loss to the entry point or above the entry point here, as we of course want to give room for price action to breathe, as we could still have price come back to retest structure, probably to incite another wave to the downside or even evolve into a reversal pattern to incite a trend continuation to the upside. So let's move our stop losses at this juncture and let's secure the current sell position at this point. Now, before I go into the details here, let's run through my commentary on the USDJPY this morning so that we can all be on the same page, and then let's see how to manage our position going forward. So this is my commentary on the USDJPY. So this is how we have been managing this position since the beginning of the week, and this was what I said here. So we are witnessing consistent selling pressure, resulting in a profit of approximately 200 pips from 3 positions as we anticipate the release of the NFP data later today. It is prudent to capitalize on this momentum by securing additional positions and remaining alert for upcoming trading opportunities. So what am I really saying here? So this was the new setup I identified here. So I also identified this level at the 143.350, where I said we are going to be having sell stop order again to capitalize on the bearish move to the downside. And since then we've had about 40 pips running from that level. So it has been quite a very profitable week for us. So now that we are going into the New York and London session today, well, I will just say here, move your stop loss at this point. Let's see how price action will play out. Let's see if we are going to have new setups or new structures, and if they evolve, then definitely we want to be using them to guide our trading activity. But at this point in time, nothing is significant for us to talk about. So let's just remain calm, remain patient, move our stop loss, secure the current sell position, and of course, when there is something new, I will definitely let you know in the comment section of all of my public platforms. So I think it's on this note we have to call it a day here, but if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section, And while I bring up the link for the XAUUSD live monitoring window, which will be coming up by 11:45 a.m. UTC, just before the New York session begins. So I will be sharing the link to that in a moment. So hold on a second. Let me bring out the link so that I can share with you guys. Okay, I think so I already have it right now, so I will be sharing it in the comment section. Okay, so XAUUSD live real-time monitoring. So you can click on the link, click on the notify me button, so whenever we come on live, you will get a notification when it will be starting. So thank you very much, guys. That's been a wonderful moment, and I'm very confident that we are well equipped to be able to take advantage of any potential trading opportunity today. So I see you on the other side of the XAUUSD live monitoring platform, and please don't forget to support this project by giving it a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me. It's like a way of encouraging me to continue to come here to give you this detailed information across all the instruments we are monitoring. And at the same time, it also helps the YouTube algorithm to identify the video, and as a result of this, push the video to a wider audience of traders who would find this video useful to them too. So please support the project, give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and thank you very much as you do so. So on that note, I wish you best of luck during the New York session and London session today. And please know that we are looking forward to a volatile day. Ensure you move your stop losses to secure your correct position. And trust me, I'm always with you right on my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful and beautiful evening, everyone, and a merry weekend to you all. Bye-bye.